welcome. This is a video on how to solve by factoring. So we're solving quadratics, and as the name would imply, we have to factor. And this is not factored. This is in standard form. Standard form is ax squared plus bx plus c. Factored form is a times x minus p times x minus q with the parentheses. So we need to get this in factored form. And so look at ax squared plus bx plus c. If I write it right below it, it helps me to see what a is. So like here, there's nothing in front of the a, and so we know that that number is 1. A equals 1, b equals 7, and c equals -8, which means that my AC value on my b here, AC is 1 times -8. And so that's just -8. B is 7. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to -8 that add to 7. And since 8 is negative, since it's -8, the two numbers have to be positive and negative. So if I look at 1 and 8, for example, I know that those two numbers multiply to 8, and they would add to 9. But since it's negative, one of the numbers is going to be negative, which means it's not going to add to 7. It's going to subtract to 7. So I'm going to put the negative on the 1, because 8 times -1 is -8, but 8 plus -1 is +7. So those are my numbers. Now let's just suppose you had put the negative on the wrong place. Just think through it. If I put the negative on the 8, and then just add them. You can even put it in your calculator if you need to. So 1 plus -8 would be -7. That's obviously not it. So I'm just not even going to bother erasing, because I can just change that to plus, put the minus on the 1, and there we go. So then if you factor this, like let's say you use a box. I put the first term, x squared, in the first box. My -8, the last term, I put in the last box. And then for the 7x, I'm going to use the two numbers I just found, but put x's with them. So -1x and plus 8x. And then you factor out the greatest common factor for each row and each column. So x squared and -1x only have an x in common. X squared and plus 8x only have an x in common. 8x and -8. Here's something to keep in mind, that if this number is positive, this number will be positive. If it was negative, then that number will be negative. Likewise, up here, if this number is negative, then this number up here will be negative. And so we know this is going to be a negative. And I believe it would be the only thing that 1 and 8 have in common is 1, so we're just going to put 1 there. And then down here, 8 and -8, they have an 8 in common, so this is going to be plus 8. And so my factors are 8 minus 1 times times 8 plus, x minus 1 times x plus 8. And this is equal to 0. Now, the zero product property says that if you've got two numbers, a times b, and that's equal to 0, then one of those numbers, a equals 0 or b equals 0, has to be like that. So here are two things that are being multiplied. One of them has to be equal to 0. So I'm going to just say either x minus 1 equals 0 or x plus 8 equals 0. And if I add 1 to both sides over here, then x equals 1. But if I subtract 8 from both sides over here, because the opposite of adding would be subtracting, that cancels that. And x then is equal to -8. And so my solutions are 1 or -8. We use curly brackets like this to show sets. And so this is the solution set. And your teacher might have you show it in a different way. But you have to have 1, you have to have -8. Those are the two solutions of this equation. There you have it.